our work right now on the planet is to bring honoring and sanctity to the invisible just as much as the visible. The invisible results are things like feeling good, things like feeling connected, things like our health, our well-being, a feeling of joy, pleasure.
Embodiment can't be faked. Once you're in an open state where you actually can see through a clear lens, you're not clouded by fear, you're not clouded by the amygdala, you're not clouded by the society's news and all the fear-based stuff, and you're just with you. Then you get to decide where you think we actually are.
It is possible to navigate pain with grace.
Energy is information. We're here to experience the full spectrum.
That worthiness is hard for you. There's nothing wrong with you. It is a muscle that we kind of have to learn how to access. You are not disempowered, and you have power in every area of your life all the time.
I believe that chronic illness is an opportunity for us to heal.
Health, it's a choice. Listening to your body if you so choose.
My prayer for the world would be that they would know the infinite love of God.
Aloha and welcome to the Body and Soul Wisdom Podcast with your host, Jen Mons. Join me each week for soul-inspired, conscious conversations around awakening to your soul purpose through 5-element well-being. Thank you so much for joining in. Aloha and welcome back to the Body and Soul Wisdom Podcast. We are diving into our 4th week of the Prosperity Experience. And I'm super excited to share this week with you. This is all about attuning to the frequency of wealth. So we're going to be talking about wealth on an energetic level. So as I was journaling this morning, there were just so many messages I was seeing that were aligned with the energy that we're in our prosperity course right now. And one of the messages that came through was around shifting overwhelm to overflowing. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about today energetically. A lot of the conversation around attuning to the frequency of anything, health, love, wealth, joy, is really about getting clarity and living in alignment. So if you're new to this conversation, I invite you to go back over the past few weeks to catch up on the prosperity roadmap and the prosperity beliefs and money blocks, and also creating your empowering money story. We've created the foundation for understanding why this is important, why does this matter, and this conversation today is really going to be more about inviting you into the energy of alignment, because prosperity and wealth are not just about money. It's about receiving. It's about love. It's about being in abundance with love and joy and creativity and your health. And it all stems really from a way that we want to feel and what we want to experience in our life. And the secret to welcoming in more wealth, W-E-L-L-T-H, or wealth, W-E-A-L-T-H, is receiving and opening up. And that requires trust. So today we're going to talk about money wellness goals. It's so interesting to me that after 12 years of coaching, what we're really talking about today is how the inner work creates outer results. That's what we're talking about with everything, whether it's health coaching or money coaching or relationship coaching. Every good coach will build a foundation in their program on giving you space to explore and be curious about what inner work are you ready for? What is being asked to lean into and to expand? So although I'm not a money coach and I'm not a relationship coach and I'm no longer a health coach, I have been able to coach many women to financial abundance and to soulmates and to optimal health, because I know that the foundation of whatever it is that you're seeking starts with you. It's that quote that I love. What you're seeking is seeking you, by Rumi, because you are the thing that you're seeking. And when you have support with a coach or a mentor that is able to really believe in you and hold that vision for you because they see your potential and they believe in you, and hold that loving, nurturing space while also standing firmly and keeping you accountable to be in integrity with your words and what you say that you want, it's like the perfect blend to bring in what it is that you want in your life. So you're here today because we're on week 4 of the prosperity experience, and this week is about attuning to the frequency of wealth. I wonder how many times in your life are you right where you need to be? Are you asking for something and it feels like it's not coming because it's not the way that you thought it was going to? And then when you actually get there, do you give yourself credit and celebrate yourself? Are you aware that you're actually receiving and all the opportunities are always there in front of you when you open up and say yes and trust and just keep taking the next step forward, even and especially when it's super challenging? And this is a great way to lead into the conversation of attuning to the frequency of wealth. If you've been listening to this show over the years, you've heard me talk many, many times about energy. And I believe everything is energy. I know to be true. And I'm also an energy healer. I do subconscious reprogramming. I do a lot of work with the chakras, shadow work through the chakras. And it's when we can break it down in terms of energy, that everything is energy, actually becomes quite simple, and it gives us clarity, which clarity is one of the elements that we need to attune to the frequency of wealth. So let's just, if you're new to the show, let's just imagine, what if we believed that the food we eat has a frequency? Emotions have a frequency, right? The work of David Hawkins. And our beliefs, our thoughts have an energetic frequency. Sound has a frequency. That's what creates different notes on a musical instrument. And so if we know that, then why wouldn't we believe that everything else has an energy to it? Money wellness is what we're going to talk about today. Because money wellness creates alignment. It creates clarity. And when we create alignment and clarity, the energy that we're aligning to becomes very clear. And so some people might think of this as the law of attraction or manifestation, and I don't really like to label it, although I think that, those are good tools to be aware of and to use, because what you're really doing is bringing your energy and intention on who you're becoming versus who you've been, which is what my 13 Moons of Daily Devotion helps and guides you to do, to really rewire neurological pathways through something called the reticular activating system, where we begin to live in our conscious and subconscious, bringing our awareness and energy and focus on moving forward versus the past or things that we believe are holding us back. So money wellness is a combination of time and financial freedom. It combines our behaviors, our mindset, our patterns, and our beliefs with the systems, support, and intention that we put around our financial resources. Support can look like mindset, or a financial advisor, an accountant, a money coach, and also systems to budget, manage, invest, track, earn, and spend. I can remember the first time that I heard a money coach speak who was really encouraging us to budget things, and I thought, that the word budget, I'm not so sure about that. That that makes me think scarcity, like I have to save. And then I realized that I could shift that belief in thinking that budgeting was really just tracking. And I just became really curious about, the value that I put on specific words, because I think we do that. We have certain values that we put on words based on what we've been conditioned to learn. So when I shifted it to really just being intentional about what's coming in, because if it's energy, if let's say we believe, as I believe, that money is a vehicle for transformation, then if we can put our attention on what we are receiving, what's coming in, and what's going out, and we know what we want to do with what's going out, then it puts a lot more energy around it, because we're paying attention to it. It's like a love language, right? Like we're paying attention to the thing because we have a goal in mind that we want to do. So just kind of notice like what comes up for you around the words like accountant, money coach, budget, invest, track, earn, spend. Do you track? Do you invest? Do you have an accountant? Do you budget? Are you really being intentional in that energy? You say you want to bring in more financial freedom, yet you don't invest. And overcoming scarcity requires trust and taking a risk at whatever level you're ready to jump from spender to investor. So for everybody listening on the show, I would invite you to set a date to assess your money wellness. Take into account your retirement funds, your savings, your emergency funds, your cash flow, your income stream assets, your debt, your protection risk, the insurances that you have. And just if you haven't done this or you don't do it, maybe you do it during tax season, but I think the end of the year is a really good time to do it. It's really more about just paying attention to it and just deciding and taking ownership of, okay, this is what I want to do with this. I want to go on vacation. I want to improve my health. I want to do the things that I say I want to do. So imagine that. Doing the things that you say you want to do. Not allowing time and money to be the reason that you don't do things, but taking full ownership and becoming the source of money and time. So I'm going to invite you, if you have some space to do it now, grab a piece of paper and we're going to answer some questions. We're going to connect with our relationship to money and discover our money wellness. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel your money wellness is right now? Like your relationship to money wellness, your mindset, your beliefs. Are you spending it on the things that you want to? The next question is, where do I want to be 6 months from now? On the scale of 1 to 10. So if I feel like I'm a 6 right now, what's reasonable? You probably know what a SMART goal is, right? Specific, measurable, attainable, I think reasonable and timely. So what's a reasonable goal 6 months from now? Say you're a 6 and in 6 months you want to be an 8. Or maybe you want to be a 10. But where do you want to be 6 months from now? Maybe there's something that you really want to create in your life. A vacation you want to go on. Or a program or experience you want to invest in. Or a school that you want to send your kid to. So where do you want to be 6 months from now? The next question is, what do I believe is holding me back? So write down at least 3 things. What do I believe is holding me back? Maybe it's that you're already paying for school tuition, or you don't know where new patients or clients are going to come from. Or I don't know. What is it? What's holding me back? And the next question is, how do I feel about what's holding me back? So this is the important one, to really dive into. Notice what you believe is holding you back. And then how do you feel about it? Do you feel frustrated, angry, sad, or excited? Excited to shift it. Ready. Or do you feel, we're going to use basic primary emotions. If you've listened to my podcast before, I've talked about the Dr. Gloria Wilcox emotions wheel. So we get down to 6 basic primary emotions. So we could say that we feel disempowered, but really, what does that mean? You're either sad or angry or frustrated. We don't use, sometimes we use words where we're sort of like projecting blame outwards, like I feel rejected or abandoned, or, that's not a basic primary emotion. And the next question is, what have I tried that's worked? Maybe you've tried putting money away in an account, like a certain amount every month. Maybe if you're a business owner, you've tried marketing specific things that worked. Maybe going through and looking at all of your investments, like a really good thing to do is look at those automatic payments, those like memberships, or, maybe you have like an automatic donation that you give to monthly or annually. Just kind of reevaluating and looking like, is this still aligned for me? Because sometimes with the donation ones, right, like you're just continuing to add it every year, and maybe there's a need for balance in that area. What have I tried that did not work? So this is a really good question, because this can really take us into, like, maybe you invested in a financial advisor or something and then you lost money, or maybe you invested in someone or something that it just didn't turn out the way that you wanted it to. And so because of that, when that does happen, we can often hold ourselves back from opportunities in the future because we're afraid the same thing's going to happen again. And also, as you answer these questions, notice how attached you feel to the answer, because the place that we really want to get to is freedom and not being attached to what any of this even means. If you can imagine that. It's like, I'm laughing because, it's a practice, right? But like getting to the place where we feel non-attached is embodied trust, and that's prosperity. And it's just that so many times we close off opportunities because we're trying to control things, or we're attached to the goal we created or the outcome. So that's when we go from overwhelm to overflowing, if that makes sense. Like, instead of creating more things to do out of overwhelm, we step into the place of just allowing and receiving and trusting. And then the next question is, how ready am I to make changes on a scale of 1 to 10? If there's something in 2022 that you missed out on, you did not invest in, you didn't go on that vacation, you didn't invest in that program, you didn't take that class, you didn't go on that retreat, if there's something that you said no to because you believed you didn't have the money, then this is a good exercise to go through and ask yourself, like, how ready are you really willing to make changes if it hurt a little bit? Because a lot of times when we say no, that we don't have the money, what it really means is it's just not aligned with my priorities and values at this time. So the real question is that if there's something that you want to do, you'll find a way to do it. So if you're hear yourself saying, I don't have the time or the money, or I don't have this, or I want to improve my health, but you're not investing in integrative doctors and a gym membership and eating healthy, then this requires some real clarity. Like, are you really speaking your truth? Are you really saying what you mean? So the questions again are, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do I feel my money wellness is? So mindset, beliefs, how do I pay attention to it? Do I have a relationship to it? Do I budget? Do I track? Where do I want to be in 6 months? What do I believe is holding me back? How do I feel about what is holding me back? What have I tried that worked? What have I tried that did not work? How ready am I to make changes? Okay, so let's pause for a moment and just take a deep breath. So what we just did is we connected to what we believe still. It's like the deeper layer, right? 2 weeks ago, we connected with the initial block that comes up. We did some work around, like, where do these beliefs even come from? Did I hear them as a child? Was I raised on food stamps? Just really getting clear about how our environment and the people around us have helped to create and condition our beliefs. And right now we're just kind of taking ownership by connecting with what's really true for us right now. So the next thing we're going to do is really get clear on our intention, because the frequency of wealth is, I'm going to say it again, it's clarity and intention. Where your intention goes, energy flows. Money is an energy. Where your intention goes, energy flows. So the first question is, how do I show up in my relationship to money? Do I avoid? Do I feel anxious? Do I sabotage? Do I spend? In other words, am I saying that I don't have the money to invest in something that's good for me and my health? Or do I say yoga's too expensive, or the gym, or organic foods, or, acupuncture, integrative wellness, or that coaching program? Am I saying that? And then am I going and spending a couple of grand on like a shopping trip, or like Starbucks every year, or, too many girls' night outs? Like, what's really going on here? Because a lot of times we're spending the same amount of money that we say we don't have to make positive change in a very sabotaging way. So this is your chance to get clear. How do I show up in my relationship with money? Do I freeze up and just immediately say no to everything that's over a certain price? Like, we usually have a pain point in price, right? Is it $2,000, $5,000, $10,000? Is it 200? Like, do you notice that you'll spend, in my 12 years of coaching, very early on, around 2010 to maybe 2012, I used to sell health coaching programs around $200, and I can't tell you how many people would purchase them and then not show up, because it wasn't enough of a pain point. They could just spend $200 and it wasn't enough to really set the intention. So just kind of noticing that. Are you always coupon clipping or looking for the thing on sale? Like, for the longest time, I used to only buy clothes on sale. And yeah, it was just, what was really underneath that was just realizing that I'm worth, if something feels really good and I really want it, then buying quality over quantity was something that I valued. So the next question is, how do I know when I fall off track? So if the goal here is to create money wellness, then how will you know when you fall off track? Like, do you go drop a couple $100s at the bar? When you feel disconnected, do you go drop $500 on a shopping trip? What is your thing? We all have a thing, right? Or do you just save and not spend anything on yourself ever? Like, you don't buy yourself a nice shirt. You don't make your home nice and cozy the way you want it. You just spend it on everyone else, but not yourself. The next question is, how much time and intention do I give to my money wellness? Do I look at my credit card statements monthly? If you're a business owner like me, every month I review with my accountant. Every quarter, every week, every month, every quarter, every year. It's part of just, being a CEO, owning your own company, because I have contractors that I pay to do work for me. So really just knowing and taking up that space and owning that. How much time and intention do I give? And if you're an entrepreneur, then you know that that's a very important part of running a business. And there are so many people that can support you in that. I recently found out about a fractional CFO, which is somebody who helps you to really understand what part of the income coming in is going to go back into the business to give the business a higher rate of return. Because, anybody who's on the journey of being an entrepreneur knows that it's a journey of self-awareness. And if you're not an entrepreneur, you probably don't know the amount of work and time and energy and resources that go into creating your own business. So to all my entrepreneurial friends out there, I feel you, I support you, I uplift you. You deserve lots of love, and you deserve to be resourced. The next question is, what tools do I use? So just getting clear on, so if you're a business owner, again, or maybe this is for your family finances. For the longest time, I used Excel. I'm a former engineer, math nerd, and love Excel. But there's so many apps out there like YNAB and benchmarking and QuickBooks and all kinds of things that I think there's even something in Microsoft to help you track. Or do you have an advisor? But what tools do you use? And who do I have to support me with financial wellness? So do you have a conversation with a coach or an accountant or your husband or wife about what income going in is going to be used for what? Because here's, in my opinion, I think it just doesn't feel good to think that we're just grinding away every day and working. And I've been in this cycle, especially when I worked corporate, working 12 hours a day for 40 grand a year, or up to 70 grand a year, still 12 hours a day, working corporate, and then not having the time or the resources to enjoy what I want to, other than a 2-week vacation every year. I mean, I feel like there's more to life than that. The next question is, how good am I with the energetics of my money wellness? Do I know what comes in and what goes out? So again, the energetics includes the emotion. Like, how do I feel about what's coming in and where I'm putting it? Yesterday felt really good to give a $100 tip. And I was just like, oh, that felt really good. I'm in a place where I feel abundance. And honestly, I was thinking maybe I could even give more, but that felt really good. So I think the former version of me would have been like, it won't really matter, whatever. And heck yeah, it feels really good. It feels really good to give back. And not giving from a place of needing to be recognized for it, though. There's a difference. But giving from a place of overflowing. Remember, we started our conversation from overwhelm to overflowing. And the next question is, how often do I review my money wellness goals? And what would I like to change moving forward around the time and the intention that I spend with money? So is my time, my money, my energy, my resources going to what I say is important to me in my life? This is super important. You want to live the life you want to live. Your calendar, all your resources should show that. Your emotional energy, your mindset, the money, the time that you spend with people, that you spend doing things, should directly reflect what you say you value. Okay, so that's part 2 of money wellness. The first part was connection. Second part was intention. The third part is to amplify. So how can we amplify the frequency of our connection and intention in our relationship with money? Let's take a deep breath in. Here's the thing. Everything that we want is already there for us, because if we have a belief, if we can see it, it's already there. We can't make up something that's not possible. And the quote I shared recently and I think it's Lao, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, right? Like everything that you want is actually there. It's just that because of your blocks and your fears and previous experiences, we're unable to see it. So in order to amplify, we're going to talk about what's already available. What resources do I have that could create and expand the energy that I'm living in? What resources do I have? And we could break it down to like the land to plant a garden, right? Like that's a resource that keeps on giving. A garden that keeps on giving. It's the same thing as like a money tree. Same energy, same thing. So what resources do I have that I could use to create extra streams of income that I would enjoy and would come easy for me? If I say I want more right now, do you have a talent or something that you really enjoy? A lot of the women that I've been working with over the years have done things like written books or done artwork, or they've jumped into an MLM company to create extra income, or they've tutored. They've decided, hey, I'm really good at math. I'm just gonna, it's something that I enjoy doing. I'm just gonna share this with other people. Or baking cakes, charcuterie boards, all kinds of fun stuff. If this is a priority for you right now, and if you have a goal, you want to bring in an extra amount of income to do something in for yourself, go on a retreat, go on a vacation. Instead of asking yourself, where is the money going to come from to do that? The real shift is asking yourself, how am I going to allow myself to receive this, bring in this income so that I can pay for the thing I want to do? Right? Such a mindset shift. It's like totally awesome. Instead of living in the what isn't working for me, living in the what is working for me, what's already available. How can I allow money to work for me? Is there a choice I can make in my life to simplify, to invest, or to manage differently? So again, we're talking about intention. I remember when I first started my coaching business 12 years ago, the thing that was most important to me was to really realize like how much I was getting paid per hour, and then how much it would cost me to pay somebody else to do something for me. And I still, as a business owner, make those decisions every day. But the first thing I started with was receiving help to clean my house, because my kids were super young. They were like, 2 and 4 or 5 at the time. And so that just took so much off my plate. And so my first goal was, okay, I'm going to get the $250 a month that it costs for me to pay somebody to clean my house, because I don't enjoy that. I can give this to these ladies and create that extra time every week for me to keep creating in my business. And it could be anything. That's like when we go to yoga class, right? Like if yoga is hard for you to do on your own, you go to yoga class to pay for an experience, a teacher to guide you. It's an exchange of energy. And the final question is, what steps am I ready to take to allow money to work for me? What steps am I willing to take? Maybe you start with the year-end review. Maybe you start with your commitment to continue listening to this podcast for the next 6 weeks. All right, let's breathe that in. We're getting into our final stage, which is creating a goal around money wellness. So first was connect, second was intention, third was to amplify, and the fourth is our goals. So the question is, what area of money wellness is challenging for me? Is it the mindset, the beliefs, the sabotaging patterns of overspending or saving? Remember the saboteurs, the 7 saboteurs go into that. Are you a fixer, a people pleaser, a free spirit, the tyrant, the rescuer. I can't remember the other ones at this time, but the saver. And just notice the patterns that come up for that. Is it challenging for you to receive, this was mine, or one of mine, I guess, even just receiving compliments? What about your beliefs around earning? Like, are you the one that believes you have to work super hard to earn really good money? And you're giving 150%. Whether you're getting paid $10 an hour or $50 an hour, you're still giving 150%. Where's the balance there? Is it your intention? Your energy, your clarity, your tracking? Is it the budgeting? Is it beliefs around generating more income? Like, do you not have creative ideas on how to do that? Whether you're a business owner or not, or creative ideas on how to move things around so that to make space for what you want in your life. Is it your effort, or I like to say effortless, less effort, more allowing? And the question is, how do I want to create wellness in that area? So what area is challenging? And then how do I want to create wellness in that area? What are 3 money goals I have for myself over the next 90 days? And what action am I willing to take? Who will I share these with? And how will this impact me? So 3 different goals, the action you're willing to take, the support you will allow yourself to receive or seek out, and what impact is this going to have on you in your life. And please feel free to share what comes up for you. You can send an email to jen@jenmons.com. You can join our Passion to Prosperity Facebook group and join along there. All right, so by this point in time, you have 3 goals to take action on. And these goals, if you've been following along, have been created from our healthy self, not our survivor self, not our beliefs that no longer serve us, not the saboteur. One of the links I'm going to share with you when we talk about the energetics of wealth is the map of consciousness developed by David Hawkins. If you're not familiar with this, I invite you to check it out. It talks about the energetic frequency of emotions. And so I want to invite you to find the emotion on that chart that relates to your relationship to money and how you feel about it, because a lot of our relationship to money has to do with how we want to feel. And it's really about feeling that way first and then taking the action. It's never about seeking for the thing outside of yourself. I know that sounds a little bit like, well, but you're talking on this podcast and you're giving us advice and support. Yes, of course, there is support for you. My purpose in this is to create curiosity, to help you heal that relationship, because it's really reflecting back to you some internal dialogue. Money's just the tangible thing. Health is just the tangible thing. Love in your relationship is just the tangible thing. What's the belief you have about yourself underneath? And what's the need underneath? You've heard me talk so many times about the 4-step process of NBC, stating the facts, the emotions, the needs, and making a request. This is where we do this with ourselves. We understand what the need is underneath based on how we want to feel. So take a look at that map of consciousness, because it talks about emotions as it relates to an energetic frequency. And at the top of the chart is enlightenment, peace, joy, love, and reason. And the lowest feeling that we can have, and I've seen this even when I was health coaching, and especially like in the area of functional medicine, shame is the lowest, and it just creates so much, or it can create so much stagnation in the body and can be really uncomfortable. So guilt and shame are the lowest. grief and fear are pretty low. If we're going from the bottom up, so the lowest would be shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, anger, pride, courage. Neutral is around 250, whereas shame is 20. Willingness and acceptance, I used to think acceptance was pretty high. But there's a feeling and an energy beyond acceptance where we get to reason and understanding. So it's like a deeper, acceptance is like forgiveness, but when we get to a place of like understanding, it's just very different. And then love, joy, peace, bliss, enlightenment. So it's pretty cool. I invite you to check that out. Thank you so much again for joining me. We're going to do this again next week, and I can't wait to share this experience with you again next week. Don't forget to check out on Amazon the 13 Moons of Daily Devotion. And the one that's available now is for the full year, 365 days. Actually, there's 366 in case it's a leap year, because you don't have to start it right away. You don't have to use it for just next year, but it does give you daily journal prompts. Each month is a different theme. And then there's also 13 new moon rituals and intention setting. So there's all kinds of really good stuff in there that I've been incorporating in my professional and personal balanced life for many, many years. And I decided it's time to create this gift and share it with you also. Go ahead and check that out. Come on over to the Passion of Prosperity Facebook group. It's different than the 5-element wealth Facebook group, which is kind of our bigger community, but in this one we're really just kind of going through the motions of this experience together, which I'm super grateful to share with you. I hope that you all are enjoying the holidays and giving yourself permission to step into more flow instead of overwhelm. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you next week. Aloha.
The content of this podcast is to educate, inspire, and inform you of pathways to an embodied healing self. It is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice from your medical doctor, therapist, registered dietitian, or nutritionist for any questions you may have regarding your diagnosis or condition.
Hello, friends, and thank you so much for joining again each week on the Body and Soul Wisdom podcast. I am so deeply honored to share this space with you every week. I know that there are many other podcasts that you could be tuning into, and our community is expanding and growing more with each new episode. I'd like to invite you to come on over to jenmons.com/tribe and receive some of the wonderful gifts that we have for you. A meditation bundle, energetic alignment, 5-element wealth, prosperity consciousness. We have a ton of different gifts available for you to enjoy. Now, we have one small favor to ask. In order for this podcast to get into the hearts and souls of like and light-minded people, we need your support. We would love your review, and would love it if you'd head on over to jenmons.com/podcast to leave a review or leave one on iTunes so that we can continue to share the love beyond out into the world. Thank you so much again for joining in. We'll see you next week.